the people who live in that area generally do wrap their hives, do move them together to conserve as much heat for the bees as they can. And all of these things that Roy has reported, I totally agree with in that area.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't have any, I would not change. In fact, I would change what I do now and adapt his way, because that's the climate that he lives in. He has to survive, and he has over many years experimented with what works and what doesn't, and that works. And so that's
he was clear in what he was recommending.
I'm sorry?
He was clear in what he was recommending.
Right.
You said to take the honey supers off and just have a brood box. When do you take the honey supers off?
You should probably be harvesting your honey now.
I can't harvest it. I've got apistan in it.
Okay. But leave it. The bees will take advantage of it next year.
It isn't gonna
And
make
if you
them
fed your
cold, or-
bees,
You said they're going to move up. Is that bad for them?
No,
to move up?
no. Let me clarify something about
Do you
feeding.
have a queen excluder?
Pardon? They wouldn't go up through the queen excluder. I had it on and they didn't want to.
Okay.
Let me clarify something. If you're feeding your bees sugar water and they've stored this sugar water in your honey super, that is not a honey crop. That is sugar water that has been made the consistency of honey. The moisture has been removed. It will look like honey, may taste a little bit like honey, but it's not honey. It's sugar. Okay?
Can you have too many bees going into winter?
The question is, can you have too many bees going into winter? I've never seen a case where I've had too many bees going into winter. If it is any concern to you, most of the bees that are in your hive right now, if they have emerged and they've been out foraging, they're going to die really before the bees get into deep winter. And so it's the young bees that are in your hive at this time. And the queen's not going to be laying much more than another 6 weeks. And the number of young bees that are raised in a hive is going to be going downhill. And so by late November, she won't be laying any at all. And she will not resume until late January or early February.
Can you visualize these extra bees right now as just being helpers to get more honey in?
That's what I visualize them as, and they may become consumers too. They will consume some of that winter stores, and if you're really concerned, Italian generally are more broody, use more honey to feed the young, because they do not quit raising young until quite late in the year. And the black bee that we have here, the Carniolia, the New World Carniolia that Sue Colby worked on, the Conica that Joe Lackshaw works with, the Ohio Project Queen, those are dark queens. And those queens do not come from a Mediterranean region like the Italian. The Italian do fine in the south. But they just keep raising brood, and that's why you buy packages that have only Italian bees in them. Okay? Have any of you noticed that? Have you ever tried to buy a package of bees with a Carniolian queen? They ship that package with Italians with a Carniolian queen. John?
I was just going to say the packages that I bought, the first thing I noticed when I dumped them in there was all different kinds of bees in there. They were not all the same color at all. And so I guess obviously once you started laying, those eventually died off, and now there's nothing but Italians in there.
An interesting experiment with an observation hive is to take one of the races, whether it's black or yellow, and all the bees in the hive are either black or they're yellow-banded Italians. And then introduce a queen that is of a different race. For example, if you have all black bees in the hive, you introduce an Italian queen. Once her brood begins to emerge, you will see this process take place in which the hive will become yellow bees, and the old bees, the black bees, will gradually decline in number. And you need to realize that in a hive, about 1/40th of your bees are dying every day. If their lifespan is 40 days, then you have about 1/40th of your bees dying every day. And those of you who worry about killing one bee, when you get ready to put your inner cover down or something, you smoke the daylights out of the bees, make sure that they're all out of the way, and then set your inner cover down. I applaud you because you are saving bees. But how many of them are dying every day away from your hive that you never see? You know, it is taking place. Okay. As far as winter is concerned, if you have any bees that are weak, my recommendation is don't waste your time trying to save them. I come from a commercial beekeeping family, and what we did with weak hives is just set them on top of a strong hive. We didn't even bother to look for the queen. We just sat them up there. A hive that is queenless has a drone laying workers, or it's very, very weak. If you put that hive, no paper, books will tell you to put a piece of paper on it. Just set it up on top of a hive. What happens is the bees in that strong hive will have a problem with any bee that's acting like a queen. Either it's the queen herself, she's not going to survive, she's going to be killed. Any laying worker that's laying eggs, acting like a queen, is going to be quickly eliminated. And the bees that are in that box, either they're going to be accepted by the bees in the strong colony, or they're not. For those of you who expect to see a pile of dead bees out in front of your hive, you're not going to see that. Most of the bees in a hive, if they can contribute to the welfare of the big strong hive, they will be kept. Okay. I'm thinking on my feet. I don't do that so well sometimes. But
Do we want to feed the hive?
when can you open your hive to check to see whether they're okay? That's another subject that's been asked, or topic that's been asked. And if it is dead winter, it's just slightly above freezing, let's say it's 33 degrees, and you're really curious, are my bees alive? You can go out to your hive, lift the top cover off, and put your ear to the inner cover hole and listen. What this hive does is amplifies whatever sound is in there. If you don't hear anything, tap on the side of the hive. Bees usually will react to vibration. Don't be gentle. You know, whack them. And they will collectively buzz. And if you hear that, you've got bees down inside.
Is there anything wrong with lifting the inner cover?
You break the seal on the inner cover. That's the only problem I have with that. If you get a strong wind, if you don't have a block to hold your top cover down, you get a strong wind come along during the winter, and it blows your top cover off and your inner cover goes with it. Oftentimes, because the inner cover is sealed down onto the tops of the box, the top cover might blow off, but the inner cover does not. Okay? The inner cover will seal when you get back